Waiting, Eric.
Hey, Wes. Good to talk to you. I'd just like to say that I think Magic was and still is a great basketball player, huge role model for lots of people in the nation. And I think the news was certainly tragic. But I hate to sound like an echo of you, but I do think, barring any sort of story of being infected by a blood transfusion or something like that, probably his infection was caused by some preventable action. And I think if you look at the sort of power that he has as a role model, I really feel like to leave out even the alternative of abstinence. You don't have to preach total abstinence, period.
But don't leave it out.
But to leave out the alternative of abstinence really is I think, bordering on negligent, because as a caller, I think 2 or 3 callers ago stated, the term safe sex is really not true. There is safer sex, but there is no such thing as safe sex. And if you leave out the alternative of abstinence, and due to a lack of knowledge or a mistake, and you don't get your safe sex 100% correct, and someone is infected, and I just think that I think we need to voice all of the alternatives. And
I do.
You know, information is good.
Information and knowledge is power.
Yeah, and
so my doctors have always told me in the past as well. Eric, thanks so much for the call. Mike in Marietta, you're on AM-750 WSB.
Hey, Wes, I would just agree with you also that I think it's a tragedy, and I was shocked when I heard. As a matter of fact, I was coaching a basketball team, and when the news came to me from a very reliable source, we always end our practices with prayer, and I told the guys, I said, you know, if this is true, then we need to pray, first of all, for his family, which we did, and for him, but I said, you know, we can't lift him up as a hero anymore, or as a role model anymore, because he's not. He's made a serious mistake that's probably going to cost him his life.
Really? You know, again, I don't want to hear this mood in America where things are unforgivable, too. I mean, you know, I think, again, his tremendous courage to even come forward in public today.
Well, absolutely.
He didn't have to do that.
But I don't think he's any more courageous than someone else who's lying in a bed dying from
Or who also learned of it today as well.
I think of the young man who died, and I don't remember his name.
Ryan White?
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know, the difference here is night and day.
I appreciate it, Mike.
This young man was completely innocent. So.
Must move on, my friend. Thanks for the call.
All right.
Glad to have you on the show. Wes Minter with more of your calls straight ahead. Don't leave us.
Home is never quite the same as it is during the holidays. And
abortion rights advocates are
speaking about his disease.
I just want to make clear, first of all, that I do not have the AIDS disease, because I know a lot of you want to know that, but the HIV virus. My wife is fine. She's negative, so no problem with her. I plan on going on, living for a long time, bugging you guys like I've always have. So you'll see me around. I plan on being with the Lakers in the league. Hopefully David will have me for a while.
Magic Johnson had missed the first 3 games of the season because of flu-like symptoms. He was dehydrated, and he also had lost quite a bit of weight.
I'm going to miss him. I'm going to miss coming in at 5 o'clock. I'm going to miss saying hello to the security people when I first get there, then the ushers. Then I get to see most of you about 6 o'clock. Oh, man. Magic, what about this? What about that? What about the team? I'll miss that. I'll miss the battles and the wars, but most of all, what I miss is the camaraderie that I had with the guys, being one of the fellas.
Magic Johnson showed the same courage, the same resolve that we have come to expect from Magic Johnson, the same composure as well. Okay, Jim.
Thanks, Jim.
Now we have the reaction. The friends, colleagues, competitors, and coaches who knew and played with Magic Johnson in the NBA were touched by today's announcement, some almost to the point of tears.
I just told him I'd be here for him in any way that he needed me to be around for him. And, you know, that's really all you can do, just to be there in whatever capacity, and hope you can offer some friendship.
You look at a guy that you competed against and at times, you know, hated to play against, and had a lot of feelings for and against, and all of a sudden something like this happens, and you kind of think, man, that's it just doesn't seem right.
It doesn't matter how rich, how poor, how famous, it could strike anyone, and it's just a shame, and we're all, we're devastated.
I know he's not dead, but it's kind of like somewhat of a death of a brother, a death in a family.
Take a moment of silence, not in any other form other than to
give our love and our support and our prayers for Irvin, for his family, and for the 1 million people who are afflicted with an insidious disease that needs our understanding.
After that, the crowd stood for a moment of silence. Pat Riley and his players huddled on the court. They recited the Lord's Prayer.
On basketball practice floors all around Atlanta, the news about Magic Johnson was heartbreaking. At Georgia Tech, the team delayed tonight's practice to watch Johnson's news conference on television. And at Clark Atlanta University, where Johnson himself helped raise money for the United Negro College Fund, players reflected on the unlikely fall of a true hero. Doug Richards reports.
To Georgia Tech freshman Travis Best, Magic Johnson is an inspiration, a hero.
You want to go pick up a ball and go shoot around and, you know, do some of the moves that you see Magic do. And, you know, it's just been fun watching him over the years.
All right, good. We're ready now. Not up high.
Today's college basketball players were in grade school when Magic Johnson broke into pro ball.
He is a hero to a lot of our players, and he's a hero to me.
At Clark Atlanta University's practice floor, the mood was one of disbelief.
I was hurt. Because Magic is someone that I looked up to a lot, and he was very special to me. This whole thing about the AIDS virus is shocking.
Johnson's condition gave pause to young adults who had given little, if any, thought to the disease AIDS and who can get it.
It kind of startled me because that just shows that it can happen to anyone.
Here at 8 Atlanta, volunteers manning the phones of the AIDS information hotline say the lines have been ringing nonstop since mid-afternoon.
So I would suggest strongly that you be tested.
They see Johnson's announcement as an opportunity to educate.
He cuts across all age barriers, racial barriers, ethnic barriers, and really has a tremendous following in every age group.
Including those who would follow in his footsteps.
It encourages me to learn a little bit more about it. That a person that is, you know, idolized by so many people, you know, it's just something to think about. You know, if he can get it, anyone can get it.
Doug Richards, Channel 5 Eyewitness News.
Once a person has tested HIV positive, there are many questions. Will he or she develop a full-blown case of AIDS? When did the infection happen and how? And who is at risk? Channel 5's Jim Kazurski talked tonight with an expert on infectious diseases.
Dr. Robin Henry Dretler is an infectious disease specialist. Some of his patients, he says, are middle-class men and women with heterosexual relationships, and they've tested positive for the HIV virus.
We don't know how many people are positive for HIV without symptoms in this country. And if you are having unprotected, that is without a condom, sexual intercourse, you are at risk for getting HIV virus.
When a person tests positive for the HIV virus, it means that the person is infected with the AIDS virus, but not sick with AIDS. An infected person can test HIV positive as early as 6 weeks after infection, but 90% test positive within 6 months, 99% test positive within a year. Does that mean they will all come down with AIDS?
It's impossible to answer, but because you do see in almost everyone who's been followed a progression of immune system deterioration, we suspect that the overwhelming majority probably will eventually come down with AIDS.
How long does it take after testing HIV positive for AIDS to develop? Dr. Dretler says within 18 months, 2% of those infected will develop AIDS. Within 10 years, 50% of the HIV cases will develop full-blown AIDS. And how long does an AIDS patient have to live?
We have more drugs, more things we can do to prolong quality of life, and it is much more the norm for someone diagnosed with AIDS to be able to have several years of quality life.
Dr. Dretler says AIDS among heterosexuals is growing faster than for any other group.
We are coming down that final dreaded hour of the Wes Minter Talk Show, live from Atlanta's AM-750 WSB. Thanks so much for listening. I really mean that. I appreciate you listening to it. It is Thursday, the 7th of November, 1991 AD, and with a plethora of things you could be doing at night, we're so glad you chose to turn the radio on to AM-750 WSB. His real name is Irvin, E-A-R-V-I-N, Irvin Johnson. from the Wolverine State of Michigan. His 9,921 assists is a National Basketball Association record. Tells you he would much rather pass the ball than shoot it. He came in 4th recently in a consumer survey of the appeal that athletes have as commercial endorsers. He ranked right behind Michael Jordan, Bo Jackson, and Tommy Lasorda. He led the Lakers to 5 NBA championships. And now Earvin Magic Johnson has become the most prominent American to announce his infection with HIV since Rock Hudson. If you just turned on the radio, you've been out all night. Perhaps you heard the news story earlier. We broke out on this story about right ahead of 3 o'clock this afternoon, and you've heard about Magic Johnson having the news conference saying he has the virus that leads to AIDS. Now, that's what we're talking about. We're finding out what the reaction was and continues to be. And I have made some claims tonight, and I've said some things that probably have irritated some people, because I think this is going to, again, move the AIDS issue faster into the political arena, where, in my opinion, it does not belong. It is not a civil rights issue. It's not a political issue. It is a health care issue. But already people are saying, oh, well, now we're going to have more awareness. And let me read you some of the things I've found. This is from the wife, Elizabeth Glazer, the wife of television actor and producer Paul Michael Glazer. And she's the founder of the Pediatric AIDS Foundation. She herself is HIV positive. Her reaction tonight, maybe his voice will be heard in a way that no one else's has. This is a curable disease, she says, but only if we pay attention. We're not paying attention, but maybe this horrible situation will make other people pay attention. With all due respect, Ms. Glazer, so far it is not a curable disease. And as I submitted earlier, the kind of money that we are spending, federal tax money, and I understand it's $1.8 billion this year alone. To me, that's a lot of attention. It's more money we spend on other diseases that yield more deaths. Longtime AIDS activists have lauded Johnson's announcement as an act of courage and a signal of hope. Well, I think everybody would agree with that. But what I did not, and I have been critical of in his news conference earlier this evening, is when he, shortly right after announcing that he tested positive for HIV, said he encourages young people to practice safe sex. Period. And I went, wait a minute! I could just see that, again, the 14-year-old boy story, the little scenario where the 14-year-old boy sitting in front of the TV, his parents are sitting there, or hopefully his parents are there, maybe his mom's there, maybe the same mom who over the weekend discovered that her son had a condom under his underwear in his dresser upstairs, and she found it, and then she over the weekend had a lecture with him. What's this condom for? And they argue, and you know how parents and kids can be. And basically she won the argument, at least for that time over the weekend, and then this scenario continues with the news conference on TV and the 14-year-old boy hearing Magic Johnson, his idol, say, and I want to encourage young people to practice safe sex. See, Mom? This hypothetical story continues with the 14-year-old boy turning around. See, Mom? Even Magic says. That it's okay. And yeah, it's reality. But I just wish that he would have also said, I want to encourage young people that if you're going to have sex, that you would safe. I like what somebody called up earlier, said safer. That you would practice safer forms. If you're going to have sex, see how that changes the whole statement? If you're going to have sex, be smart. Use a safer form. Or don't have sex. But you see, the message of abstinence never gets mentioned. Oh, well, Wes, you're just an old mossback. You're living back in the 1890s. These are the 1990s. Well, baloney. I guess that was my only criticism of that news conference, of the statement, because I can see this thing now is going to get, there are going to be people running to the floor of Congress tomorrow. More money, more money, more money, more attention, more attention, more attention. Okay, let me give you the soapbox and give you the phone numbers. Here they are. 872-0750 or toll-free 1-800-WSB. Talk to Grayson, Georgia. Steve, a first-timer. Glad you're here, Steve. You're on AM-750 WSB, and thanks for being patient.
Thank you, Wes. I just want to agree with you tonight and say it's pretty sad that somebody in this situation goes on national TV at the dinner table and tells our kids that, it's to practice safe sex and not bring up the other issue of abstinence. And just looking at the news tonight while I'm sitting here, all these college students are interviewing that play ball for these colleges, and they look at this and say, is this what, sure he's going to get national recognition, it's going to come to the front, but I think it's pretty sad that it comes to the front and he brings out an issue like that.
What's going to happen now as a result of the revelation, Steve? I mean, are we going to have cries for more testing? Are we going to have other people, for instance, in the NBA, other athletes say, well, I'm going to get tested? I mean, what do you think is going to happen as a result of all this?
I think it's going to blow up in government because everything else has, and including gun control, and it's just another scenario of the promiscuous society we have today. It's sad to say that, but it's true, and a lot of people are going to, listen to this and say, oh, you're, just like it, you're living back in the, but so what, times have changed, but...
I'll tell you, if somebody says that to you tomorrow, Steve, if they say that to you or your kids, tell, no, sir, no, ma'am, I'm living in the 1990s. I'm well aware of the days I live in. Thank you very much for the call. 1117 and Wes Minter on AM-750 WSB with calls on the way from people who, it is somewhat surprising, but they now have lost the glitter. They think. We got calls on here, people that don't, he isn't a role model. Behavioral problem. Say no to, I mean, these are the reactions of people across the country. This is what the average American is thinking. And you're locked into the show that'll tell you all about it.
Atlanta's Morning News, in-depth reports on the hour and half hour, and quick news updates throughout the hour. And at AM-750 WSB, your morning weather and traffic reports are scheduled every 6 minutes. Nobody else covers Atlanta's Morning News like AM-750 WSB, the news, weather, and traffic station. Depend on it.
The right side of Jerry's brain wanted the look of laser quality printing.
I want business documents with clean, crisp type and sharp graphics so people will see my work and marvel at my creativity.
But the left side of Jerry's brain had other thoughts.
I don't know. That kind of print quality must be expensive.
Right brain?
My presentations will be stunning. My work will really get noticed.
Left brain.
Wouldn't a dot matrix printer be more logical from an affordability standpoint?
Right.
Don't be so analytical. Aesthetics are at issue here.
Left.
Sorry, chum, but I'm talking business.
Then Jerry heard he could get a Hewlett-Packard DeskJet printer for a list price of under $600. His right brain thought,
I can express myself with laser quality print output.
And his left brain concurred.
For a dot matrix price, I can rationalize that.
Hewlett-Packard presents printers both sides can agree on. DeskJet printers for under $600. The HP DeskWriter for the Macintosh and the DeskJet 500 for PCs. Both with a limited 3-year warranty. See your authorized HP dealer. Hewlett-Packard peripherals. When it's important to you.
Looks great, doesn't it, Roy? Looks great. Think it's big enough, Roy? It's big enough, Tony. You don't think it's too big, do you, Roy? It's not too big, Tony. Biggest one in Gwinnett. The biggest one. Be ready to open in a few days, won't it? Few days.
On Monday, November 11th, the biggest thing to hit Gwinnett County will open its doors. A 100,000 square foot fresh food market, unequaled and unbelievable.
Gonna put the others to shame, isn't it? To shame.
And those two guys are gonna make sure. Roy and Tony invite you to the grand opening of their Fresh Festival. a farmer's market off 85 North at exit 39A on Steve Reynolds Boulevard.
Just look for the big red apple. Can't miss it. And if you do, turn around and come back.
If you like to take pictures, take your film to Walmart. With Walmart Film Developing, you never need a coupon to get what Walmart's famous for, the always low Walmart price. And with Kodak Color Watch quality and handled with care service, it's smart to drop the coupon habit and drop your film at Walmart. Walmart Film Developing, coupon prices without the coupon. Always. If you like to take pictures, take your film to Walmart. With Walmart Film Developing, you never need a coupon to save on premium Spectra 35 service. You get Kodak Color Watch quality and 24 big 4x6 prints in a free mini album for only $5.86 every day. So it's smart to drop the coupon habit and drop your film at Walmart. Walmart Film Developing. Coupon prices without the coupon. Always.
Are all those Christmas decorations doing anything for you to make you want to go out and buy something for somebody? I'm Scott Slade. We'll talk about the psychology of selling the holidays tomorrow on Atlanta's Morning News. Between 5 and 9 a.m., get the news, weather, and traffic reports you need to start your day right here. Now, more from my favorite nighttime talk show host, Wes Minter, on Atlanta's news, weather, and traffic station, AM-750 WSB.
Have a time.
Minter time. Yeah, I know. I can't match up. I know, Phil. Don't tell me, please. I come close, though. Because I think when it comes to this talk show, well, you
can't touch this.
That's right. Hey, we got a Doonesbury update. You know this thing about Doonesbury writing about Vice President Quayle, which is just disgusting. We'll talk about that in the next 30 minutes. AM-750 WSB meteorologist Kirk Mellish calls for the cool temps to return tonight. Overnight low 36 degrees. A little bit of rain in the area tomorrow here in Atlanta. Up in North Georgia, it could be snow. It could be some freezing precipitation. In fact, I heard Kirk earlier today say we may get some passing flakes. And I wondered, did he mean snow in the Atlanta area? You know, we can say these people that come from the far left fringe of the political spectrum, and I consider them to be passing flakes. The high tomorrow is only going to be 45 degrees. Tomorrow night lows 30. Right now, 48 in the city. Dunwoody is where Kathy is calling us for the very first time. Glad to have you, Kathy, on AM-750 WSB.
Hi. I think I'm the only lady that's called tonight.
Now, we've had a couple of others.
Oh, all right. Well, what I wanted to say is that, I think he was kind of smart in coming out with this, and I do admire him for doing it. But, he has the reputation. He has the money. Now he's got everyone's, all of the world's support.
And sympathy.
And, I mean, he's going to be better off for it because he's going to need every bit of it. I take care of AIDS patients in the hospitals, and there are so many that when their families find out they have AIDS, they're disowned. Their insurance cancels them. I mean, they have nobody but the doctors and nurses that are taking care of them. So, I kind of feel like he was smart in doing this because he's going to need every bit of it.
We were talking about this earlier, that he could have I shouldn't say easily because there's nothing easy about this, but from the outside looking in at this, you wonder, he could have gone this year, play basketball, continue to say he had the flu or whatever, and maybe not even known the results. Again, as we've said, this came down from an insurance, according to what he said earlier in his news conference, an insurance report. But and then later on, maybe have found out, could have stepped down at the end of the year, and it didn't have to go public. But he went public with it.
Did he say something about that he had been losing weight?
No, I heard that in the news media. The news media, I watched the news conference, and I listened to the news conference. I don't remember him saying he lost weight. I remember a couple of commentators bringing that up.
Because that's one of the first symptoms, signs.
Right,
just lose a lot of weight.
What do you think is going to happen as a result of this today, Kathy?
Well, I think
change the picture any?
Well, I think that probably everybody will get on the bandwagon for a while and, let's help everybody out. But if you really, we have spent more money on AIDS research than any other disease. AIDS is a virus, and we've yet to cure a virus.
Mm-hmm.
And, I'm not saying we should stop the research, but I think that maybe the research is fragmented. Take that $1 billion and give it to 50 scientists and 50 researchers, not 5,000 who are all doing the same test.
I appreciate your call, Kathy.
Uh-huh.
Jim in Dallas on AM-750 WSB, where the phone number is 872-0750. Jim, you're on the Wes Minter Talk Show.
Hey, Wes. This is Jim. I'm that youth minister friend of yours, I guess, that they called the past couple of times during the week. First thing, I just want to say that I think this is very tragic, and he does need our prayers, and we need to pray for him and keep him uplifted to the Lord. But the thing is that the man is a human being, and he did something very stupid. He had sex outside of marriage. And whether he had it with a condom or without a condom isn't even the point, because he could have still caught it even with the condom.
He got married back in September.
Right.
Okay, so you're saying you're just assuming that it happened well before marriage.
Well, unless he's been cheating on his wife.
Well,
That's a possibility, too.
I say that it's a behavioral thing. To my knowledge, he's not an IV drug user.
Right.
To my knowledge, he hasn't been in hospital getting blood.
Right.
There's been no report of be a dentist involved or anything like that, you know, where all these other, these cases or not cases, but stories lately continue to come up.
Right.
So it comes back to a sexual behavior situation.
Right. So it definitely happened.
But is he becoming a martyr? Is that where things are headed? Do you think that's where this is going to go?
I hope not. Because he did something stupid. He should have abstained, or anybody outside of marriage should abstain from having sex. There's a man by the name of Josh McDowell. I don't know if you ever heard of him.
Oh, yes, I have.
Well, he has this Why Wait program. And during this program, and also he's been on tour with Petra, a Christian rock group, he hits kids over the head with this stuff. And it comes out that there are 55 incurable sexual transmitted diseases out there.
Again, somebody called it that earlier tonight, and as many people know, that is one way that this is transmitted. It is a sexually transmitted disease. Thanks, Jim. Jeff in Hampton, you're in the air.
Hi, how are you doing tonight?
Pretty good.
Well, I first wanted to commend you on bringing out the fact that he didn't mention, that Magic Johnson didn't mention the abstinence of sex and everything like that.
I think the way it was brought up tonight, because it was so much towards the front of his announcement, that nobody heard if being used, nobody heard, oh, by the way, or also, or in addition to. I think it's going to hit a lot of people in this country that he's just made this assumption, have sex and have it with safe tools, if you will.
Right.
And I really think that message came out loud and clear to a lot of people, saying, "No, wait a minute, there is another alternative here."
Right. And I believe really that AIDS it's basically a judgment from God, because...
No, come on, Jim.
Well, okay, let me...
I'll let you say what you believe.
Okay, I understand this is what I'm saying.
Okay.
It's like this. It's sort of like, as far as the general idea, like what the last caller was talking about, sex out of marriage. God ordained marriage. Sex was supposed to be inside marriage, and the largest percentage of the AIDS situation is because we've broken the rules. We've perversed the way that God intended for it to be. And I just wanted to say that, everybody says, well, you're abstaining from sex and everything. I'm proud to say that I was a virgin and my wife was a virgin when we got married. So, and it's just,
Oh, I don't think you have to be ashamed about that.
No, and I'm not. People talk about, well, we live in the 90s.
Again, we let this minority group out there, by minority I mean in numbers, we let this minority group of people set the public agenda when it comes to morality out there, and they say, well, everybody's having sex, so, condoms got to be used. No, everybody's not when it comes to teenagers. They're not all having it. And, it's like I've said before, pretty soon we're going to have it, it's going to be so bad. You're going to go in the public high school and say, see that door down there in the hallway? You know what's behind that door? 50 cots, because we want them to practice safe sex. Got to move, Jeff. Thanks a lot. That's where it's going to head, Phil. It's going to get so... Well, again, my producer is nearly falling off the chair in disagreement. It's 11:28, and Wes Minter in the night on AM-750 WSB.
What can you buy for $9.95 these days?